Well, it's now that time where we go from the best and talk about the worst. Let's do this. Well, folks, I hope you all enjoyed listening to my top 10 best films of 2017. Now, today is a day where we're going to go over my top 10 worst films of 2017. And boy, let me tell you right now, my list has got a lot of films, and I'm just going to fair warn you, some of these movies that is going to be on my top 10 worst list, you're either going to love it, or they're just going to piss you the hell off. Why? Because knowing me, there's a bundle of films on here that comes from, well, some of them come from a certain film company. I'm not going to name any names. A1 Steak Sauce. And there's a lot of films on here that are mostly comedies. Why? Because I am a comedy snub and I don't like comedies. So, as for that, before we get to the top 10 worst list, I am going to have 7 dishonorable mentions as well. But before we get that, there's another list I'm going to go over, just like with yesterday's video where I went over my top 5, what was my top 5 surprising films of 2000, yeah, my top 5 surprising films of 2017. This time, we're going to go over my top 5 disappointing films of 2017, so let's get to it. Alright, time for my most disappointing films of 2017 now. Just like with the surprising, I'm going to sum up all these films right now in just a simple statement before I give you all the top 5 list in this particular order. Now, with all these films here of disappointing, it's just all these films were either films I was looking forward to, especially with how the trailers came off and what it looked like, and either the praise of who's playing in it, who's directing it, somewhat in same situation within the surprising, but instead the film of the execution itself of the film ended up being a total disaster or a major disappointment. Now, same thing in a way, but okay. Now, with a lot of these films, again, some of these films were either ones I was really anticipating throughout the whole entire year, and some of the films that I've heard praise about, people were telling me, oh, I'm going to like this film, and I'm going to enjoy it, love it, whatever. But I ended up not liking it, so these are the top 5 films that I rightfully picked and put in this particular order of films that are my most disappointing films of this whole entire year. So, here they are. Number 5, Logan Lucky. Number 4, Alien Covenant. Number 3, Murder on the Orient Express. Number 2, King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. And number 1, this is a film that I was looking forward to the most because I absolutely loved the first film. But I did not love the second film because it was a major disappointment with how it came off, the jokes, some of the sequences, some of the ridiculous spots that happened. It was just a bummer, and that is Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which is my most and number 1 disappointing film of 2017. Now, also, I'm going to go over real quick, not a list or anything, but I'm going to go over real quick my most overrated film of 2017 and my guilty pleasure of 2017. Now, as for my guilty pleasure of 2017, it is The Great Wall. I think you all get the drift of what that film is about and who's playing in it. I think you all get it. But as for my most overrated film of 2017, Lady Bird. We're going to talk about that real soon. So yeah, folks, let's get to the dishonorables. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and assholes watching and holding their dicks. This is now time where I'm going to talk about my dishonorable mentions, and for this particular dishonorable mentions, these are films that either were in my top 10, but just didn't make the final cut for being in the worst. And some of these films that is in my dishonorables, they were on my worst list for a long time until I saw films that were much worse as the year progressed. And there was one film that I will mention that was on my worst, well, 2 films, excuse me, that was on my worst list for quite a long time until they got bumped off into the dishonorable mentions. So, folks, here's my dishonorable mentions. Number 7, The Bye Bye Man. Number 6, Despicable Me 3. Number 5, Unforgettable. Number 4, the worst animated film of the year, The Emoji Movie. Number 3, 50 Shades Darker. This is one of the 2 films that was on that worst list for a long time. Number 2, The Snowman. Yes, I did see that movie. I just didn't do a review of it here on the network. And number 1, a film, well, on the film channel, excuse me. And number 1 is a film that was on my worst list for a long time, but number 1, dishonorable, and that is Baywatch. So yeah, folks, let's just get right to the worst, because we're going to be here for quite a while. I might start yelling. Okay, coming at number 10, oh boy, we just have to start this list off in a positive, quote-unquote, note. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about A24, shall we? Whoop-de-doo. I'm excited to talk about A24, my favorite film company. I wish I had a beer right now. I wish these bottles were full of alcohol right now. But let me talk about this particular film, and let me tell you right now, I was watching this movie, and people were telling me, oh, this film is scary, you're gonna be scared out of your mind. So, I saw the movie, and, okay, so these people go out hunting, some legitimate jump scares happen that was so intentional, and just happened for the sake of scare. And you just get stupid shit that happens. Maybe one zombie guy that appears in a dream, but in the end, all these guys anticipate, and what happens? The suspense builds, and what does it lead to? Nothing! Nothing comes at night! Literally! So yeah, my number 10 worst film is It Comes at Night. This film was boring. It was absolutely boring. At least you get this big fucking suspense happening, and what happens? Oh, boom, nothing happens. Also, you get a lot of sequences, legitimate jump scares that is just there to scare you, predictable factors that just happen, and from there, what does it lead to? Nothing. So, seriously, what was the point about this fucking film? Absolutely nothing. That's the best way I can describe it, is nothing. Nothing comes at night, nothing happens, and literally suspense builds and just leads you up with total disappointment. Why? Because nothing happens. I mean, literally, it's showcased for you all. Oh, this film leaves you in total fright and scare. No! Fuck you! It didn't leave me in scare. You wanna know what leaves me in scare? I'll show you a film that knows how to scare you right. Perfect example of a modern day horror film masterpiece. Cabin in the Woods, or the Conjuring films. Those movies are scary, not this one. Alright, coming in at number 9 is a movie that Anna Kendrick stars in, and boy, she was a fucking bitch, because she gets placed at a table with a bunch of these random people who have different personalities. You got one guy who think marriage people are swingers. You got one lady who's a fucking dope. You got one married couple who's constantly bickering, like how many times throughout the whole entire film. And you got this one dude who was in fucking prison. And from there you got other cocksuckers who is just pathetic. You got this one dude who she had a problem with, and then all of a sudden, boom, ends up back together. Then you got another guy who shows up at weddings, tries to fall in love with Anna Kendrick's character, but no, he's just a wedding crasher. And this film was supposed to be quote-unquote funny. No, it is, and this film was an epic disaster. Number 9 is Table 19. Seriously, this movie was just a major wreck with a lot of the shit that goes on. Little to no consequences, constant bickering and arguing. Shit that you never would thought would even be said. Little to no consequences are even made. And most of all, you just got bullshit that just happens for the sake of bullshit. Seriously. I don't know what else to say about Table 19. This film was just pathetic. It was a disaster. Oh my god, I don't know what else to say. I mean, there was a whole review on it. That explains it all. I really don't need to say much more. Let's just get to number 8. Number 8. I didn't do a review of this on the film channel, but I did do a written review, and boy, let me tell you folks right now about this particular movie. I thought the first one was bad. This one was just as worse because it's the fucking sequel! So, they're back, trying to get the holidays ready, trying to, get their families together for Christmas. But as soon as their mothers came, it just goes right back to what the first film was, but instead, it was a lot worse. My number 8 is Bad Mom's Christmas. Oh, my own. Folks, this film was just so mean-spirited. That is the best way I can describe it. The film was fucking mean-spirited. It had little to no consequences that happened. Again, just like with the last number in my worst list, little to no consequences were showcased. Just stupid, pathetic, ongoing, running jokes that just got not only irritating, but it was super unfunny. Yeah, the constant fuck you. That wasn't funny. It was obnoxious. Adolescent behavior. It was pathetic. Seriously. I don't fucking get it. Why made another Bad Moms movie? The first one was shit, and this one's just shittier. Seriously. Let's get to the next number, please. Number 7. I want to ask you all one little question. Would you all care for a piece of pie today? For me, talking about this particular film, I really don't. I just don't. So, a lot of people I've seen or heard, Stockman has this film on their best list. And let me just tell you right now, the bullshit I hear, a film that centers around loneliness, a film that centers around the afterlife, a film that centers around moving on with life. Bullshit! This film was about, again, it was about a whole fucking building. That's what it was. It was about an area. This film was about nothing. It was boring. Absolutely boring. So you got this cocksucker who dies and ends up looking like the Charlie Brown ghost from the Charlie Brown Halloween special, playing trick or treat throughout the whole entire film. And from there, what happens? You just get this asshole watching this lady move on with her life and sit there for 8 minutes straight eating a fucking pie. Seriously, that's not good. It's boring. What's so special about it? Oh, it's just so deep. No, fuck the metaphors. Fuck the life lessons. Explain to me at face value what it means. It meant nothing to me. There was no purpose. There was no point. My number 7 is A Ghost Story. Oh my god. Folks, seriously, I don't understand what's so special about this movie. I don't understand the praise, and yes, this film is fucking overrated. I don't get it. Look at that. I'm coming down with a cold from this movie. See that? It's making me sneeze. I don't get the praise. I don't fucking get it at all. What's so special about this movie? So yes, this asshole dies, and all of a sudden goes back in the past, sees a family get killed, serving no purpose at all, and see the construction of a building. Literally every single scene that happens, there were so many plot holes that were galore. About the note, what it read, about going to this hole instead of going, he just walked right through it. There were so many plot holes in this movie. It was so obvious. Seriously. It was that fucking obvious, and I've just farted too. I don't get it. I don't get it, folks. Plot holes galore. It was boring. There was nothing meaningful. There was nothing special. I don't fucking get it at all. Alright, number 6. This is a lot of people, from videos I've seen when it comes to the worst list, a lot of people has this as their number 2 or number 1, which kind of surprises me to an extent. Why? Because there has been films, well, coming from me, that I saw were a little bit worse, but you know what? This was in the top 5 for a long time, but there's another film I will mention that is in the top 5 that made this in the top 6. Well, top 10 to 6, you get what I mean. But yeah, this movie, I read the books a long time ago, middle school, but now, as an adult, the movies were bad. And this, I mean, the first Diary of a Wimpy Kid was bad, then here came Roderick Rules, that one was just shit. Then here came Dog Days, and that was shittier, and then came Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, which is my number 6. And, oh, my word, this movie was just bad. And I mean bad. From the first opening scene at their quote-unquote Chuck E. Cheese, from the first opening scene up until once they get to camp, it was just bad. I mean, not even into like 10 minutes of the movie, just the first 3-5 minutes, it was trouble from there. Frozen fucking pizza. Roger himself, Adam Haskell, how you doing? Yeah. I don't know what else to say. The whole entire fucking film. Oh my god. Frozen fucking pizza. Everything that was said, dumb. The characters were just irritating. I mean, every single one. There was no common sense. There was no logic to any of the characters. A lot of the shit they were saying was just fucking stupid. And a lot of the scenes, actions that they were doing was just stupid. The whole film was just stupid. Literally, that's what Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul is. It's just stupid. Alright, we're now getting into the top 5. And boy, most of these films, it is just a mixture of half and half, in a way. But mostly, they're just comedies for 5 to 3. The other 2, I'm gonna be bad guy Mr. Garrison from there. But yeah, my number 5. Amy Adams, you're not funny anymore. Your jokes are lame. Your movies are lame. You're not funny anymore. After this movie, I lost it for you. I really did lose it for you, for comedy-wise. This movie was just stupid. You had a fucking big crybaby mama's boy who told his mommy everything. You got characters, when they got snatched, which is my number 5. Number 5 is Snatched. The guys were stupid. The tapeworm scene, which is the worst scene of the whole entire fucking movie. Some of the shit containing the worst line of the whole year. Oh, your arm broke. You wanna die, commit suicide because nobody likes you, blah blah, something like that. I obviously butchered it the worst way, but that particular scene, if you've seen the movie and get what I'm trying to say there, you'll know exactly what I mean by it is the worst line I've heard this whole entire year. It is the worst line. Amy Adams doesn't make good movies anymore. Her comedy's just dreadful. This whole film was just a disaster. And after I saw this movie, no joke, I was in a vegetated state for like 2 fucking hours because of how bad this movie was. I mean, seriously, I lost all my patience. I can't even yell at all because, I mean, if you've seen the review, I can't even yell anymore because it's just at the point where I don't know what else to say. I really don't. So yeah, Snatched is the number 5. Alright, coming in at number 4. This was my number 2 worst movie for a long time, but no. This is surprisingly the number 4. Girls get together for a party. They invite a male stripper. He ends up getting killed, and they just start making period jokes, dead guy jokes, sex jokes. Just so many jokes that was just unbearable to hear, and just every action scene, no consequences, just it was just unbearable witnessing all this. It just made me lose all points. And boy, it was a rough night after that. Pun intended. My number 4 is Rough Night. It's just everything that was said in this movie, everything that was done, all the scenes, none of it made sense at all. Literally, a lot of the bullshit that was done made little to no sense. Seriously. Alright, number 3. Now, folks, I'm not going to get into detail about this because there is this review of this particular movie is doing absolutely well. My most watched review that I've done. Folks, you just watch the review. That explains everything from there. Number 3 is Fist Fight. Watch the review. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I will explain why Fist Fight is my number 3. The reason why it's my number 3, not my number 2 or number 1, because there are 2 movies that I saw. I mean, Fist Fight is the worst comedy of the whole year, hands down, because of all the scenes because of everything that happened in this film, containing the worst villain, Mr. Strickland, the worst action scene, the final fight between the 2 teachers, and just ongoing run-on jokes that was just unbearable to listen to. I mean, the whole in-depth review is right there. You can just see it. And by the way, thanks for the 122 dislikes, but I appreciate the views getting me up to close to 30,000. So you know what? That puts a smile on my face. But anyways, the 2 movies that are on this list pissed me off to no end worse than Fist Fight. And I mean much worse than Fist Fight. Now, this is the review where I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't want to hear the number 2 and number 1, I would stop watching and just leave it right here from 10 to 3. But once you get to the number 2 to number 1, that's where I'm going to be a bad guy. Why? Because I'll explain it. But let's just get to the number 2. Okay, number 2. This is where I'm going to be a bad guy. And this is on a lot of people's best list. I'm probably going to be the only man who has this on the worst list, and especially this high. Because you all know me. Once the glasses come off, shit gets real. Let me just explain this about this movie. Because for all you know, 2014... Boyhood was my worst movie of that year because let me explain something. I hate films that center around life. I despise movies that center around life or upcoming and age stories. Why? Because I'm someone who watches a film from face value and does everything objectively. I don't go by metaphors. I don't go by certain meanings. I don't go by films that represents life. I don't do that shit. Why? Because when I watch a movie, I want to watch a film that's going to be executed with epic storytelling that makes things believable. Not things that is like, oh, it's already believable, where it's just there and you're supposed to understand and you're supposed to, make you think. That type of bullshit. I don't fall for that crap. This film, when I was told, if you hated Boyhood so much, you're going to hate this movie. And boy, sure enough, people were right. Because this is that upcoming and age film that is centering around life or adolescence and teenage years. I'm sorry. When I watch a movie, I go by the face value, objective standpoint of what a film's going to bring. And from what I saw in this movie, no. What I saw was bickering and arguing the movie. That's all this was. Constant and arguing that was going on about little stupid, and I mean just stupid shit, leading up to what every character says. Literally, you wouldn't think, who the hell says shit like this or does crap like this? I mean, in a reality, if you want to talk about reality form or things that are believable, This is stuff that is not believable to, saying shit that would happen or jumping out of a car because of a stupid argument that could have been resolved. Just stupid shit, getting so upset and showcasing visual arguments and leading up to, oh, my first love. Seriously, you don't go up to some random guy or some chick that you have a crush on and just start saying preposterous bullcrap. You don't do that. You take a nudge instead of forcing saying stupid shit, saying, do you come here often? Is that your family? Shut the fuck up. But here's the thing that was different from Boyhood. It doesn't showcase her growing up, but it showcases her life and showcasing her first love, her first auditioning for a play game. There was nothing so special. Please, I want this explained to me without the meaningful of, oh, this is an upcoming in age. This is about life, her growing up. Explain this to me in detail. What's so special about this movie? This is my most overrated film of the whole entire year. And seriously, in my review, I was fucking drunk. My number 2 is Lady Bird. I hated this movie to no end. And I'm not saying it because I hate it. Because of what happened, of everything that I just explained that happened in this film, it makes no sense to me what's so special. It was just constant annoyance of bickering and arguing and adolescent behaviors to shit that you would never think would happen. Literally, none of this stuff that was said or done, physically, mentally, or said, it's not believable. Seriously, people, I don't understand the praise. But you know what? For those who liked Lady Bird, I'm not judging you. More power. I'm not going to, bash you for liking this movie. But I'm just not going to understand what is so special about this movie. I will not understand it at all. Again, I'm not bashing you. If you like it, it's good. More power to you. I'm just not going to understand the praise, nor perspective, nor understanding what's so special about this movie. I just can't understand it. Alright, number 1. This is where everything that I hate when it comes to films is either art house, or it's either a life movie, or most of all, it's a big motherfucking metaphor. That's what this movie was. A big fucking metaphor. So you think it's special for some guy who's known as man and another woman who's known as woman. Then you got these other 2 dickheads coming in, taking over this family's life. Then later on, with little to no consequences, the lady who's pregnant, well, we'll get to that, doesn't do jack fucking shit about all these random strangers coming into her house. And just all this bullshit happening. And also, another thing, the lady herself was a big coward. But most of all, what took the cake for this film? The baby scene. I'm not going to even bother going into detail. The fucking baby scene that happened in this film. That's not art. That's not masterpiece. That's nothing special. That's sick, that's disturbing, and that's just downright fucking disgusting. I'm going to say this. If you find that art, I'm not going to... Screw loose. Just screw loose. Because, and by the way, for people say, oh, this movie makes you think. No, this movie does not make you think. This movie's just downright disgusting. It's disturbing. It's boring. Just so many scenes that happen with nothing going on that has no consequences. My number 1 worst movie of 2017, if not the worst film of the whole decade for me probably, is Mother. This film was just a big son of a bitchin' metaphor. Oh, it just goes to show you how the Bible was made. Darren Aronofsky, if you hated the world so much, then why did you just do something? Instead of making a fucking movie expressing religious showcase, where clearly you're an atheist yourself. I'm sorry. I don't understand what was so likable about this movie. I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. This movie was just horrible. It was just an absolute nightmare. Witnessing all the events that happened, that took place, leading up to things that just had no meaning, no purpose, no special, and especially that final scene, which is the worst scene of the whole entire year. Just let it happen. I got no more words to explain. Mother, you suck. This movie sucked. But yeah, folks, that is my worst list of 2017. So please, let me know down below, what is your worst films of 2017? I'd like to hear it. So as always, folks, stay tuned. And I got another video coming up. And I'm going to be doing a year-end roundup of films that I did not even review at all on the network. And I'm just going to go over those quickly and give my ratings and perspective. So stay tuned for that.